Alright, I'm Michaela Kavanaugh, and this is my Smartboard lesson for kindergarten, and it's called Model and Count to 20. So the reflection from the prior lesson, I've said that students were good at counting from 1 to 20, and that they struggled with starting from a number such as 4 and counting on, and then they struggled understanding that a number such as 3 would represent 3 objects, such as like 3 students or 3 pencils. And then my lesson goals, they're going to count to answer how many questions about as many as 20 things arranged in a line, a rectangle, array, or circle, or as many as 10 things in a scattered configuration, give a number from 1 to 20, count that many objects, and we're really going to focus on the counting that many objects. My lesson objectives, using the Smartboard, students will drag objects into a group to match the number displayed with 95% accuracy, and then using the Smartboard during the lesson, students will drag 6 of the 7 missing numbers from the 20s chart to the correct box. They're going to need to have the Smartboard, a computer, paper, pencil, and then a worksheet I'll have printed off. Their contextual factors, I say that math is the first lesson and that students are somewhat tired in the morning. They do enjoy doing math, but it's important that we have an engaging activity to really get them to wake up. And then the students do well with partners, but when it comes to small groups, they tend to get distracted, so smaller groups are best. So this is how our lesson's going to start. We're going to do this song. It's called Counting Together. And then they've been practicing this song before, so these are just my notes for like if a sub was here. They've been practicing this song before, so they know there's like a little dance that goes with it, and then they count from 1 to 20. And so by now, the students can all do it together. Then we're going to go on, and this is today's mission. Is just how I state the objectives for the students in general terms. We're going to work on putting a certain number of kids on a school bus, and then we're going to fill in a 20s chart that has some missing numbers today. So that's what we're going to know by the end of the lesson. So this is going to be the first example. So they're going to put the number of children next to the bus to match the number on the bus. So this is going to be a sample that I already have done. So students are going to be able to see, I'm going to be able to point out that there's the number 6, and then they have it in word form. And then they're going to need to drag 6 students around that bus. So like 6 would be getting on. And then I can show them that they can move and drag these students, and then they get their students from over here. And that it doesn't matter if it's girls or boys. Then this one's going to be kind of their guided practice. So I'm going to have one student go up, probably someone who's a little higher achieving in the class, and they're going to drag 8 students, and we're going to talk through it. So I'm first going to say, what's going to be your first step? They're going to want to identify the number. Then they're going to want to start counting, and I'm going to have the whole class kind of work through it with them. Then I have a couple slides that I'll have individual kids come up to do. So we have 5, 12, 15, and then we have a worksheet. So students are going to grab out this worksheet that I've handed to them, and then I'm going to explain that they're going to count how many items are in each box and then write the number here. And the numbers are all 20 or less. So it's kind of a review of what we've been doing of counting. Then this activity, it's going to allow for 7 students to come up to the board. So they're going to have to fill in the missing numbers, such as like 3. So the student would drag the number here, and then it snaps into place. And then they would continue to fill this out. So we'd put 6, and then throughout it we're going to discuss how they knew if it's 3, if they started from 1 and counted on, or if they started, or for 6 if they started at 5 and they knew that 6 was next. And then we can talk about any patterns that they may see in the chart. Finally, after we've done our closure with counting from 1 to 20 on our fill in the chart, we're going to have an exit ticket, and students are just going to take out a piece of paper, and I'm going to give them a number. So like say today the number will be 14, and they're going to just draw 14 objects, like 14 circles or 14 squares to represent that number. For assessments, I'm going to be observing them during the Smartboard activity, and my Smartboard activity is going to allow for about 12 students to come up and participate, and then along with that I'll get to see the worksheet, so when they're working individually, if they can do all the problems or if they struggle with a certain number. And then the exit ticket is also going to be a way to assess them. For differentiated instruction, for students that are struggling, I'm going to allow them to have manipulatives on their desk so that they can have a physical representation and they can follow along with us. For enrichment, the worksheet I can adjust so that there's numbers up to 30 for students who are ahead. And also if students are ahead, I could have them work on ratios. So say if the number is 12 on the school bus, I can ask them to have an equal amount of girls and boys, or twice as many girls as boys, and then they can be a little advanced in that area. And then for language support, it's a pretty simple lesson. So the numbers could be translated into other languages for students on my Smartboard, so that student, if for 12, I can have it in Spanish, and then I know that one of my students who primarily speaks Spanish, it'll be their turn to go up to the board. And then these are my resources, so my book and then my worksheet link.